when we believe that the milk of a cow, an animal, is sufficient to afford nutrition to a human body, then one has to question that. Because I am not an animal. That's common sense, I think. Animals produces milk for animal babies.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we are diving into a pretty controversial topic. You have probably heard about Dr. Sebi, the famous herbalist who had a lot to say about what we eat. One food he warned against is milk. According to Dr. Sebi, milk is one of the worst foods you can consume. He said it should be completely avoided if you want to achieve good health and cure any illnesses. But guess what? Many doctors actually recommend it. So, what is the deal with milk? Is it a superfood or a silent killer? Let's find out. First off, let's talk about who Dr. Sebi was. Dr. Sebi, whose real name was Alfredo Bowman, was a Honduran herbalist and self-proclaimed healer. He was famous for promoting a plant-based diet and claimed that many modern diseases could be cured through natural remedies and an alkaline diet. He believed that a lot of our health issues stem from the foods we eat. Dr. Sebi was not your typical doctor with a white coat and stethoscope. Instead, he was more of a natural health advocate, and his methods were based on traditional healing practices and herbal medicine. His main idea was pretty straightforward. A lot of the food we eat today is harmful to our bodies. Processed foods, artificial ingredients, and even some naturally occurring substances can create an acidic environment in our bodies, which he believed could lead to various health problems. So, he developed what he called an alkaline diet to help cleanse the body and restore it to a more balanced state. Now let's get into why Dr. Sebi said milk is bad for you. According to him, milk is unnatural for humans. Think about it. We are the only species that drinks the milk of another animal. Weird, right? It is like, why are we doing something no other species does? He said that drinking cow's milk creates mucus in our bodies. Now, you might be wondering, what is the big deal with a little mucus?
Well, disease is the accumulation of mucus, breaking down the mucous membrane, and that mucus covering groups of cells in your body. Like for instance, we have the mucous membrane in the body to protect us from the onslaught of aerobic bacteria as they are called. But this mucous membrane is for protection. But now we eat acid foods, and the acid food breaks down the mucous membrane and does cause it to flow with the blood.
Well, Dr. Sebi claimed that this mucus can cause a whole bunch of health problems. We are talking about stuff like allergies and asthma, which are already pretty annoying to deal with, but it does not stop there. He also linked it to even more serious health issues. He argued that our bodies are not designed to handle cow's milk. Dr. Sebi believed that it is not a natural fit for our systems, and that trying to process it can lead to all kinds of troubles. When you think about it, it kind of makes sense. We would not feed human milk to a cow, so why are we drinking cow's milk? It is a bit of a head-scratcher. Dr. Sebi's views were definitely unconventional, and not everyone agreed with him. But he had a loyal following who believed in his teachings and felt that cutting out cow's milk made a big difference in their health. Now, let's get into more specifics. Dr. Sebi pointed out that cow's milk is full of casein, a protein that is hard for humans to digest. He believed that our digestive systems are not equipped to break down this protein efficiently. This, according to him, leads to the production of excess mucus. And it is not just about the annoying runny nose or clogged sinuses. Dr. Sebi argued that this excess mucus can build up in various parts of the body, causing inflammation and a range of chronic illnesses. So, is it true that milk causes mucus production? Well, this is kind of a tricky question. You see, it is a bit of a gray area. There have been some studies that suggest dairy products can make mucus thicker, but they don't necessarily cause your body to produce more mucus. It is a subtle difference, but an important one. For some people, especially those who are lactose intolerant or have a milk allergy, dairy can make them feel more congested. They might experience more mucus or a feeling of being phlegmy after they drink milk or eat cheese. This does not mean that dairy is increasing their mucus production, but it might be making the mucus they already have thicker or more noticeable. On the flip side, there are plenty of people who can drink milk and eat dairy without any issues. They don't feel any extra congestion or mucus buildup at all. it really varies from person to person. If you are one of those people who feels more phlegm after having dairy, it might be worth cutting back to see if it makes a difference for you.
Milk has calcium. Well, I stopped drinking milk 42 years ago, and I could fall on my knees. You drink milk with moringa, because they said the mixture would make in some pages here. You're not going to fall on your knees at 73. You won't leave your knees down there.
According to Dr. Sebi, milk is inflammatory. But what does that even mean? In simple terms, inflammation is when your body's immune system gets all fired up. Normally, inflammation is a good thing, like when you get a cut and your body sends in the troops to heal it. But sometimes, your body can overdo it, and you end up with chronic inflammation. This kind of ongoing inflammation is a troublemaker and can lead to all sorts of health problems like arthritis, allergies, and even more serious conditions. Dr. Sebi believed that milk could make this kind of inflammation worse. He thought that milk was not meant for humans at all. After all, it is originally made for baby cows, not people. He claimed that when we drink milk, it can trigger our immune system in a way that's not so great, leading to increased inflammation in our bodies. For people already dealing with inflammatory conditions, like rheumatoid arthritis, asthma, or even skin problems like eczema, Dr. Sebi argued that milk could make these conditions worse.
But if your ancestors are Africans and Indians, your body is not programmed to digest milk.
Dr. Sebi was not a fan of lactose in milk either. Lactose is the sugar found in milk, and it can be a real troublemaker for many people. As people get older, their bodies often lose the ability to digest lactose properly. This means that when they drink milk or eat dairy products, they might end up feeling pretty uncomfortable. Imagine sipping on a glass of milk and then dealing with bloating, gas, and other digestive issues shortly after. Not exactly a pleasant experience, right? This discomfort happens because our bodies need a special enzyme called lactase to break down lactose. When we are kids, we usually have plenty of lactase, but as we grow older, many of us start producing less of it. Without enough lactase, lactose just sits in the gut, getting fermented by bacteria. This fermentation process produces gas, leading to uncomfortable bloating. And it is not just about feeling bloated and gassy. The inability to properly digest lactose can also lead to other digestive issues. Some people might experience diarrhea, stomach cramps, or even nausea after consuming dairy products. These symptoms can range from mild to severe, depending on how much lactose a person can tolerate. And for those who are lactose intolerant, even a small amount of dairy can cause significant discomfort. He also had a lot to say about milk and the not-so-great things it contains.
Is that the animal that we selected to afford us this milk is an animal that was made through the process of hybridization, an animal that is godless. God did not make a cow.
So, cows are often given hormones to boost their milk production. At first glance, this might sound like a great idea because, hey, more milk, right? But the issue is, these hormones can sneak their way into the milk we end up drinking. Dr. Sebi believed that these hormones could seriously mess with our body's natural balance, potentially leading to all sorts of health issues. And that is not all. To keep cows from getting sick, farmers often give them antibiotics. Now, this might seem like a good way to keep the cows healthy, but there is a downside for us humans. These antibiotics can also find their way into the milk. According to Dr. Sebi, this is a big problem because consuming these antibiotics can contribute to something called antibiotic resistance in humans. Basically, antibiotic resistance means that if we get sick and need antibiotics, they might not work as well because our bodies have gotten too used to them from drinking milk. It is like if you eat the same food every day, eventually, it does not taste as good or satisfy you as much. Scary stuff, right? On top of that, Dr. Sebi pointed out that milk is acidic. He was really big on the idea that what we eat can either help us stay healthy or make us sick, and he believed that acidic foods like milk can mess with our body's natural balance. According to his teachings, when we consume too many acidic foods, it can create an acidic environment in our bodies. Dr. Sebi thought that this acidic environment was a major cause of many diseases, so he always promoted an alkaline diet, which means eating foods that help keep our body's pH balance more alkaline and less acidic.
God, all the products of God are alkaline. Because if God had made an acid substance,
Well, now, Val, what are you talking about? What are you doing?
Dr. Sebi's idea was pretty simple. If we stick to eating more alkaline foods like fruits, veggies, nuts, and seeds, and cut down on acidic stuff like dairy, meat, and processed foods, we can help our bodies stay in better shape. He believed that an alkaline diet could prevent diseases and keep us feeling good. Dr. Sebi even created a whole list of foods that he recommended for an alkaline diet, and he was always encouraging people to make these foods a big part of their meals. He often talked about how our bodies are naturally designed to be more alkaline, and when we eat too many acidic foods, it can throw everything off balance. According to Dr. Sebi, this imbalance could lead to inflammation, digestive problems, and other health issues. By sticking to an alkaline diet, he believed that we could help our bodies function more efficiently, improve our energy levels, and even boost our overall well-being. He also talked about the ethical and environmental aspects of milk production. Dr. Sebi highlighted how industrial farming practices are harmful to animals and the planet. Dr. Sebi pointed out that when we drink cow's milk, we are not just enjoying a glass of milk. We are also, in a way, supporting some pretty negative stuff. Dr. Sebi also emphasized that our choices have ripple effects. It's like tossing a stone into a pond. The ripples spread out far beyond the initial splash. When we decide to consume cow's milk, we're not just affecting our own health, but also the health of our planet and the well-being of animals. It's all connected. He wanted us to realize that we have the power to make a difference. By being more mindful about what we consume, we can support more ethical and sustainable practices. But here is where it gets interesting. Many doctors and nutritionists say milk is really good for you. They argue it is packed with essential nutrients like calcium, vitamin D, and protein, which are crucial for strong bones and overall health. They recommend it, especially for kids and older adults. Calcium helps build and maintain strong bones and teeth, and it is important for nerve function and muscle health. Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium better, making your bones even stronger. Protein is essential for muscle growth and repair, and it keeps you feeling full and satisfied. Doctors say that milk is also a good source of other important nutrients like potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure, and vitamin B12, which is essential for red blood cell formation and proper nerve function. Riboflavin, vitamin B2, in milk helps convert food into energy, and phosphorus works with calcium to build strong bones and teeth. For kids, milk is especially important because they are in a crucial growth phase. Their bones are developing rapidly, and the calcium and vitamin D in milk are vital for this process. It is not just about growing taller, but also about developing a strong skeletal structure that will support them throughout their lives. Kids also need the protein in milk to help build and repair tissues as they grow and stay active. For older adults, milk helps prevent bone loss that can lead to osteoporosis, a condition where bones become weak and brittle. As we age, our bones naturally lose density, but getting enough calcium and vitamin D can slow this process and keep bones stronger for longer. The protein in milk also helps maintain muscle mass, which tends to decrease with age. Keeping muscles strong is important for overall mobility and reducing the risk of falls and injuries. Some doctors even suggest that drinking milk can be beneficial for heart health. The potassium in milk helps counteract the effects of sodium, which can lower blood pressure and reduce the risk of heart disease. Plus, milk is naturally low in fat, and choosing low-fat or skim options can help you manage your cholesterol levels. So, who is right? Dr. Sebi or the doctors? Well, it kinda depends. If you are lactose intolerant or allergic to milk, then obviously, it is not great for you. You might get an upset stomach, bloating, gas, or even worse symptoms, and that's no fun. For those people, staying away from dairy is definitely the best choice. But let's dive a bit deeper. There are studies out there that link dairy to certain health issues like acne, digestive problems, and even some types of cancer. Some people argue that milk is meant for baby cows, not humans, and that our bodies are not really designed to process it well, especially as we get older. They also point out that many people around the world are lactose intolerant, which seems to support the idea that dairy is not a universal health food. On the flip side, there are just as many studies showing the benefits of dairy. Milk and other dairy products are packed with essential nutrients like calcium, vitamin D, and protein. These nutrients are important for building strong bones and teeth, maintaining a healthy weight, and keeping our muscles working well. Some research even suggests that dairy can help lower the risk of certain diseases like osteoporosis and high blood pressure. Then there is the enjoyment factor. For many, a life without cheese, ice cream, or a creamy cup of coffee sounds pretty bleak. Dairy products can add a lot of pleasure to our meals, and they are a staple in many cultural cuisines. So, who is right in this dairy debate? It really comes down to how your body reacts to milk. Some people can drink it every day without any problems and enjoy the health benefits. Others might need to limit their intake or avoid it altogether. It is all about listening to your body and finding what works best for you. A lot of people these days are turning to alternatives like almond milk, soy milk, and oat milk. These can be great options if you are trying to avoid dairy but still want something to pour on your cereal or in your coffee. Just make sure to choose ones that are fortified with vitamins and minerals. Switching to almond milk, soy milk, or oat milk can be a good move for a bunch of reasons. Maybe you are lactose intolerant, vegan, or just trying to cut back on dairy for health reasons. Almond milk is made from ground almonds and water, and it has a nice, slightly nutty flavor. It is low in calories but does not have much protein. Soy milk, on the other hand, is made from soybeans and is a bit creamier. It has more protein, almost as much as cow's milk, and is a popular choice for people who want a heartier option. Oat milk is made from oats and water, and it is naturally sweet and creamy. It is great for frothing, so if you love lattes, oat milk might be your new best friend. Another great thing about going lactose-free is that it encourages you to explore new foods and recipes. You might discover that you enjoy the taste of almond milk in your morning coffee, or that coconut milk makes your smoothies creamier and more delicious. Trying out different plant-based options can be a fun and tasty adventure. One thing to keep in mind is that these milk alternatives often come in different flavors and varieties. You have got your unsweetened versions, which are great if you are watching your sugar intake, and then there are the vanilla or chocolate flavors if you like a bit of sweetness. Just be sure to check the labels, because some of them can have a lot of added sugars. It is also really important to go for the fortified versions. When you cut out cow's milk, you might miss out on some key nutrients like calcium, vitamin D, and vitamin B12. The good news is that many brands of almond milk, soy milk, and oat milk add these nutrients back in. So, when you are at the store, look for ones that say they are fortified with these vitamins and minerals. This way, you are still getting the essential nutrients you need for strong bones and overall health. So, if you are thinking about making the switch to almond milk, soy milk, or oat milk, go for it. Just keep an eye on the labels to make sure you are choosing options that are fortified and not loaded with extra sugars. With so many choices out there, you are bound to find one that you love. And that is a wrap on our deep dive into the milk debate. Whether you are Team Dr. Sebi or Team Traditional Doctors, the most important thing is to listen to your own body. If milk doesn't sit well with you, there are plenty of alternatives like almond milk, soy milk, and oat milk that might be a better fit. Remember, what works for one person might not work for another, so find what makes you feel your best.